about you and Rayo Unification?
I spoke with Rayo after he won. I mentioned your name.
Of course.
Teofimo.
Definitely. Let's do it. Let's get it on.
Doesn't get me going yet. You gotta really beat Pitbull.
Stopped in the first round to the body. Before my pro debut, right before I turned pro, he came back 2 weeks later, stopped him again.
Who does get you going then?
Why was Teo celebrating as if he was the one that beat Pitbull? Breaking news, Teofimo Lopez was asked by Snow Queen LA about fighting El Rayo in a unification bout at 140 pounds after El Rayo dominated Pitbull Cruz. Teofimo Lopez responded by saying, "F that boy," while El Rayo was celebrating in the ring immediately after he won. Then later on, Teo said, the El Rayo unification fight at 140 pounds doesn't get him going. He needs to do more. El Rayo needs to fight Pitbull again in a rematch and beat him more convincingly. Well, ironically, Pitbull Cruz doesn't even want the rematch. That's how bad El Rayo beat his tail. For the people that don't know, Pitbull Cruz actually has a rematch clause, but he's choosing not to activate his rematch clause because he already knows El Rayo is the better fighter. El Rayo took Pitbull Cruz to school so bad. Pitbull already knows that El Rayo has his number and there's nothing he can do in a rematch. That's why he's not interested in a rematch. That's first of all. Second of all, when Teofimo Lopez said the El Rayo unification fight at 140 pounds doesn't get him going, it's like, wait a minute, you telling me Steve, that got like 7 losses, who is not really ranked, gets you going, but a Rayo unification fight don't? The math is not mathing. Teo is making no sense whatsoever. I don't even know some of the guys' names that Teo fought. That's how bad Teo has been cherry picking as of late. From Pedro Camba to Steve Claggett, like I said before, he had 7 losses and 2 draws when Teo fought him. Let Teo tell it, those guys got him going. However, the El Rayo unification fight don't get him going, even though those guys didn't bring a belt nor a name to the table like El Rayo is. We all know what time it is. It's duck, duck, goose time for the ducks all over. It ain't no takeover. It's ducks all over boxing when it comes to Teo. That's how he moves. The real reason why Teo doesn't want to fight El Rayo is because of deja vu. Teo keeps remembering when El Rayo knocked him out twice in sparring. Or at least, the first time El Rayo knocked out Teo in the first round. The second time, Teo quit. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, Teo wants no smoke with El Rayo. However, he want to make a pathetic excuse like, oh, the fight doesn't get me going, but Steve do. And El Rayo needs to do more against Pitbull in a rematch, even though El Rayo beat Pitbull better than Teo beat Steve. In a more dominant fashion, in a more entertaining fashion, in a more skillful fashion, in a more everything fashion. One thing for sure and 2 things for certain about El Rayo, he's a real throwback fighter. Just like Benavidez, he will fight anybody. Man, El Rayo called out Shakur Stevenson to fight. Who does that? Who voluntarily calls out Shakur to fight? Well, El Rayo just did. While Teo is shaking in his boots from fighting Shakur, Keyshawn Davis, Devin Haney, El Rayo, and anyone that's good to fight Steve. That's who Teo wants to fight instead. If a tomato can doesn't come with the package with his next opponent, Teo doesn't want it. Matter of fact, Teo even turned down a title shot at 147 against Brian Norman for the WBO title that Crawford just vacated because, first of all, he said he don't want to fight on a Friday. Then he said he wants to fight in an arena, even though he can't even sell out a movie theater. You cannot make this up. What's even more embarrassing than that, when El Rayo dominated Pitbull Cruz as a heavy underdog, Teofimo Lopez started screaming, "There's only one king," celebrating Pitbull Cruz losing, right? What's funny about that? Factually speaking, there's 4 kings at 140 right now. and Tio doesn't want to unify with none of them, especially El Rayo. I guess when Tio says he's the king, he means he's the king of ducking, not the king of fighting the best in the ring. Let me ask you guys something. How can you be a king but have no kingdom? Only a duck does, and that's what Tio is. It's really disappointing to see Tio follow Canelo Alvarez's duck shoes, his duck print, and avoid the smoke with El Rayo. This would have been a great fight. Their styles match up really well, and they have history together, so you know the buildup will have been fire. I think El Rayo would have had dominated Tio. I think El Rayo would have had even stopped Tio, especially with Tio having the deja vu moment of what happened in sparring with El Rayo. I can't say I'm surprised. Tio showed us time and time again that he's not like that. He's not about that smoke. Remember, Tio didn't even want to get it back in blood with Keyshawn for knocking out his father. That's more about the principle than anything. But you know what Tio justified him avoiding Keyshawn with? He told Keyshawn to get a belt. Well, El Rayo got a belt, and Tio's still avoiding the smoke, so we know that's all cap. Tio doesn't want to fight Keyshawn for knocking out his father. He don't want to fight Shakur for disrespecting him. He don't want to fight El Rayo for knocking him out twice in sparring. I mean, what the heck Tio want to do? Just stay cherry picking? If it sounds like a duck, if it moves like a duck, if it lives like a duck, if it tells you I'm a duck, then it's a duck. With the opinions out of the door and the facts laid out on the table, go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comment section below of Tio turning down the unification fight with El Rayo at 140 pounds. Subscribe below and to be continued on the next episode of Akhi TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.